Chapter 11. Boone. 1 week later. She's ghosting me. I text Ivy for the 100th time in the last week. What are you up to, baby girl? Got any houses for me? I don't expect much of a response at this point, but I can't help but keep trying. I'm stubborn like that. Her response comes right away, and it's negative, just like I knew it would be. Ivy.
Work is terribly busy right now. Sorry. We'll text you later.
Sure she will. That's her response every time I send her a message, be it email, phone, text, or any other way I can think of. She's always very polite, but she pushes me away. She's got no time for me, at all. She never calls me. I'm always the one calling her, trying to get her attention. If I waited on her to contact me, I'd still be waiting. I must have scared Ivy off. Maybe calling her my fiancé freaked her out. Maybe my brothers were dicks to her, though it didn't seem that way. I've been racking my brain for the past week, trying to determine where I went wrong. Maybe the sex was bad? Nah, I rocked her world, at least twice each time. Bottom line is, though, she ain't friendly anymore, and I need to fix that. So, I text her back, because I don't like no for an answer. BP. I understand you're busy, but it's Saturday. Ivy.
I still have clients on Saturdays.
BP. Just not this client? Ivy.
I'm currently with someone at the moment, but I'll research another house for you when I get home tonight.
BP. You know I ain't asking about the houses, Ivy. I'm asking about me and you. Ivy.
I'll text you about it tonight.
I sigh because she's almost as stubborn as me. Almost. BP. Can't we be mature adults and talk about this? Ivy.
Absolutely. I'll send you a message tonight.
BP. Why don't we meet to discuss it? Ivy.
I'm having dinner with my sister.
BP. Fantastic. I've been waiting to meet her. Ivy.
I can't, Boone. I'm sorry, I just can't.
BP. Do you hate me now or something? Ivy.
No.
Ivy.
That's not it at all.
Ivy.
It's just complicated. I'm sorry I can't say more.
BP. Me too, baby girl. Me too. I tossed my phone aside, frustrated with how the conversation went. I can normally win Ivy over in a matter of moments. So what's troubling her so much that she won't even see me? It's complicated tells me absolutely nothing, other than there is something, and she doesn't want to talk to me about it. I think for a moment, and then text one more time. BP. Are you pregnant? BP. I know we rubbered up, but accidents happen. Ivy.
What? No.
BP. So you got your period? Ivy.
I am not discussing this with you. And are you freaking insinuating that the reason why I'm avoiding you is that I'm hormonal?
BP. So, you are avoiding me then. And here you've been telling me all week that it's work. She's silent. I knew she would be. Ivy hates to be confronted. And somehow, having her admit that she is in fact avoiding me just makes things worse. I need to figure out what's going on so I can fix it. Protectiveness towards Ivy surges through me. No one better be messing with my woman. I'm actually a little bummed that there's no baby. I picture Ivy's stomach rounded with my kid, and I kinda like it. Of course, it's early in the relationship yet, but Ivy pregnant with my baby, I'm up for that. Of course, I gotta get her speaking to me first. I get an idea how to break down Ivy's barriers a few days later. She's being utterly silent and driving me crazy with lust, but I'm a patient man. Okay, actually I'm not, but I'm a calculating man, and I need a plan. It finally comes through for me on Monday, when Clay sends me a text message. Clay: meeting with Suits at new drill site in West Texas. Tomorrow at 8 a.m. You need to be there. I'm about to text him that all of our brothers need to be there, because the company belongs to all of us, even if I have majority share. But as I start to text, I get an idea. Ivy has herself barricaded behind her desk, citing work. I just gotta get her away from work. I drive over to Ivy's office. The lobby has a few clients inside it, sitting lined up in fancy chairs and sipping coffee. One's in a suit and reading Forbes magazine. It's a 2-month-old issue. I know that because it's my face on the cover, along with my brothers as we pose with sledgehammers in front of one of our many rigs. I thought the picture's kind of stupid, but, it's amusing to see this starchy, snooty suit reading my magazine, though. He barely gives me a passing glance before turning the page. The receptionist cocks her head and gives me a puzzled look, as if she can't quite make me out. I guess Ivy's number she did on my hair improved things more than I thought. Well, that and I'm not covered in dirt today. Thought it might be bad manners to show up to woo my woman covered in mud. I'm here to see Ivy. I'm afraid she's not in at the moment, the woman says, picking up her pen and a notepad. Did you have an appointment? Sort of. Her brows draw together. Who shall I say came by? Oh, I'll wait. Her mouth opens and then closes again, and she gives me the tiniest of frowns, as if she disapproves of this choice. I'm not sure how long she'll be. That's fine. I move to one of the chairs in the lobby and drop into the seat, sprawling my legs out and getting comfortable. I'm prepared to wait. If Ivy's here, she'll have to come out and confront me at some point. And if not, well, I'll run into her when she heads in again. Either way, I'm seeing Ivy today. I ain't taking no for an answer anymore. About a half an hour after I sit down, the front door opens and a very pale, tired-looking Ivy enters, a stack of flyers in her hand. I immediately get to my feet, and as I do, surprise moves over her pretty features at the sight of me. Boone, what are you doing here? Getting you a seat, I tell her, taking her by the arm and leading her towards my chair. She looks sick, unhealthy. There's a sheen of sweat on her face, but she's also paler than I've ever seen her, and my heart is about to jump out of my chest with worry for her. Is that why she's been pushing me off? She's ill? What's going on, Ivy? She blinks her eyes at me, confused. Going on? Why do you look like you're about 2 steps from passing out? She puts a hand to her forehead. I'm fine, truly. I
I need to eat some crackers and drink some juice.
That's weirdly specific. You just donate blood or something?
Or something.
She sags against me as if all the strength has gone out of her. Worry slams through my chest. She's so fragile, and the weight she leans against me is slight. I'm full of panic, because I don't know what to do. I feel helpless at the sight of her like this. But I have money, and as long as I have money, she's gonna get the best care possible. So, I scoop her up into my arms and immediately head out to my truck. You hang tight, baby. I'm gonna get this all taken care of for you. Ivy makes a small sound of protest as I open the door to the cab and gently set her inside.
Where are you taking me?
I buckle her in, gently close the door, and then race to the other side of my truck.
Boone,
she demands as I jump in the car. She sits up a bit more, no longer looking quite so scary pale.
Seriously, where are we going?
Hospital, I tell her as I start the truck and roar out of the parking lot. If I have to buy them a damn wang to get them to look at you, I'll do it. To my surprise, she laughs, and her hand touches my arm.
I promise you, I'm fine. You'd be better off driving me to Starbucks than the hospital.
I glance over at her. Some of the color is returning to her face, and there's a hint of a smile on her lips, though she still looks mighty pale and worn. I'm torn, but I pull into a nearby Starbucks and order the drink she tells me, and then I order a few more cookies, just because she needs them. We pull up to the window, and I fling my credit card at the girl, grabbing at the drinks and food and hastily passing them to Ivy. I don't relax until she takes a few bites out of a cookie and sips at her iced coffee, and she gives me a bigger smile.
Thank you.
You okay? My heart feels as if it's never gonna stop racing in terror. Her lips aren't the same color as her pale cheeks anymore, though, so that's good.
I'm getting there,
she says, and takes another sip.
You might want to get out of the drive-thru so someone else can get their order.
I glance at the rearview mirror, and sure enough, there's a line snaking around the building and lots of impatient people. But I don't want to leave yet in case Ivy needs another cookie. I hand my card over to the girl at the window. Pay for everyone else's, too. It's on me.
Oh, Boone,
Ivy says, and there's a soft note in her voice like I just bought these people something more important than a cup of coffee.
You big softy.
I put the truck in park. I ain't leaving until I know you're good. You need more coffee? More cookies? A donut? She shakes her head slowly.
I promise you, I'm perfectly fine now.
I ain't sure I believe that just yet, but when the girl at the window hands me my card back, I guess I don't have any more reasons to stall before returning Ivy. Then again, maybe I shouldn't return her. I give her a thoughtful look, and she's smiling so sweetly at me, as if she hasn't blown me off all damn week, as if she hasn't given me blue balls and a sack full of worry, as if everything's okay now that she's got some mocha java thing to drink. And then what? I take her back to work and she goes back to ignoring me? I nod thoughtfully and tuck my credit card back into my wallet, hand the girl at the window a $50 bill for a tip, and then drive off, silent.
I appreciate the coffee, Boone, though it wasn't necessary.
Ivy's voice is like liquid honey, all smooth and pretty and sweet.
You're thoughtful.
Just doing my job, I say blandly, and drive out from the parking lot and into the street.
Oh, I think you missed the turn for the office,
She tells me politely, gesturing at the windshield.
You can take the next street, though.
I don't. I don't take that street, or even the one after that. I just keep driving, and she makes a surprised sound as I turn onto the highway.
Boone? Where are we going?
I act like it's no big deal, like I kidnap a woman every day of the week. Don't even look over at her while I'm driving. I'm taking you out to West Texas with me.
What? You can't.
Kinda looks like I can, from my point of view.
Boone?
She makes an outraged sound and thumps her hand on the dash.
Take me back to the office right now.
Nope.
What do you mean, nope?
I give her a lazy look. Nope.
You can't just drive off with me. My laptop's still at the office. My purse, too. All I had with me was my phone.
I let her make all kinds of unhappy noises, but I keep on driving.
You can't just take me.
I glance over at her again. It kinda looks like I did. Her eyes are flashing anger now.
This isn't funny, Boone. I'm serious. This is kidnapping.
No, it ain't.
God, you are so frustrating. Yes, this is kidnapping. I can't believe you.
I shake my head slowly. You said you'd go with me.
When did I say that?
I'm doing my best not to smile, though it ain't easy. She's real cute when she's riled. I seem to recall a certain promise of a blowjob anywhere I wanted, anytime, any place. Her gasp of shock is long and low. I want it in West Texas, at one of my rigs. Don't worry, it'll be private. I have to oversee drilling on a new well. Got a lot of production in the new area, so gonna douse for a well in some neighboring land. Thought I might bring you along with me.
Because you want me to blow you?
No, because I like your company. I can feel the grin spreading across my face despite my best efforts to play it straight. Blowjob's just an extra.
Boone, please.
Her voice is turning soft and pleading now.
I have clients this afternoon. I'm supposed to meet someone to discuss selling their house.
Well now, that's mighty interesting, seeing as how you won't look at houses with me. Ivy goes silent. Now she's snared. I wait patiently, because I'm bound and determined to get that explanation I've been wanting all week. She gives a little sigh.
You and I, we're
complicated, I say dryly.
Yes. No. I mean, we're not supposed to be a thing.
Says who? Ivy rubs her forehead, and I nudge the bag of cookies toward her. Eat another.
You're so pig-headed.
Not inaccurate.
And a bully,
she adds. Possibly not inaccurate either. Where are we going with this?
Ugh! You are so frustrating, Boone. Seriously. Why won't you listen to me? I can't be here with you. I need to go back to work.
Her voice turns pleading as she puts her hand on my arm again.
Please.
It almost works. Almost. And then you'll call me, right?
Of course,
she agrees swiftly. Just as soon as you get a chance. Yeah, I fell for that once. I know the moment Ivy gets out of this car, she ain't never gonna see me again if she can help it. There's something I did that either spooked her or made her mad, and I need to figure out which so I can fix it. Just like the rest of this week, right? Ivy is silent. Look, Ivy, I am a lot of things, but I ain't stupid, all right? I know you're avoiding me and you're trying to play it off. I don't know what I did that made you run, but I'm tired of not getting an answer. So, you want to tell me what's going on? For a long time, the only sound in the truck cab is the endless rhythm of the highway that passes under the tires and the gentle roar of the air conditioner.
It's complicated,
She says after a time.
I wish I could tell you more.
Well, now, I sure wish you could, too.
Can you just please take me back?
If I do, am I ever going to see you again? She pauses for a long moment, and I grit my teeth. Damn. Whatever I did is so bad that she has to stop and think about whether or not she wants my money? Hell, I'm offering her everything. Not just a commission on a fancy-pants house, but the chance to live there with me as my wife. My wallet, hell, my everything would be hers for the taking. And she has to think about it. Am I that bad to be around? I have to know. The thought of her being repulsed by me sends an ache right through my gut. I'm crazy about her, and it kills me to think it might not be mutual. Ivy makes a sound of surprise.
It's not you at all.
Isn't it? First chance you get, you ditch me. Kinda makes me feel like you're having regrets for slumming it with me.
That's not true.
Her hand goes to my knee again.
If there's a problem between us, it's that I'm a little too addicted to you.
She's not making any sense. I glance over at her before focusing my eyes back on the road again. How is that a problem?
It's a problem for me. I don't have time in my life right now for a relationship, much less an obsessive one.
You think what we have is obsessive?
Well, I've known you for a week, and you've already been in my pants. I'd say that's moving fast. And our first visit to a house, you had your head between my legs.
I lick my lips, because it's been entirely too long since I've tasted her. I miss having my head between your legs, Ivy. I put it there right now if I didn't need my eyes for driving. She sucks in a little breath, and her legs shift on the seat. She's wearing one of her longer skirts, her body covered down to the knees. I guess I'm the only one that gets the short skirts. Hot damn, I like that. Maybe what she's telling me is true. Maybe she's afraid of jumping in too fast. I can understand that. I put my hand on her knee, just to test the waters. After a moment, she puts her hand on mine, but she doesn't try to remove it. Guess she's not lying, and she likes my touch after all. I stroke my thumb over the soft skin of her thigh. Missed you this week. A lot. Ivy's hand caresses mine.
I missed you too. I hate that I did. I wanted to be able to just walk away and not think about you anymore. Except that didn't happen. I ended up thinking about you all the time.
But you still didn't call me. She chuckles.
You're not the only one in this relationship that can be incredibly pig-headed.
And then I'm pleased. because she's calling it a relationship. Maybe I'm breaking down her defenses. I want you to go with me on this trip out to West Texas. It'll just be an overnight, but I'd like you to be there with me.
Because I owe you a blowjob?
I drag my thumb along the inside of her knee. Actually, I just want to be around you. But yeah, we can say it's for the blowjob. When she laughs, I press forward. Call your clients. Tell them you can't make it back today.
I need my purse.
You don't. I'll handle everything. She shifts, and I feel her creamy skin under my hand like a caress. I rub my fingertips along her inner thigh, wondering if she'd push me away if I let my hand go higher.
I do have 2 clients I'm supposed to meet this afternoon.
Tell them you have to reschedule.
Someone will snag them out from under me.
Tell your clients that if they don't go with someone else, you'll give them a free car at closing. Ivy sputters.
I can't give them free cars.
I'll give them free cars. You don't have to give them a thing. You're my lady, and I'm stealing you away. So the least I can do is make sure your business is secure. I tap my finger on her thigh. Call him.
This is not realistic, Boone.
I got enough money that I don't have to live in reality anymore. Or didn't you notice? I grin over at her, my hand possessive on her thigh. Last week, I shot down a $2 million house for being too shitty.
It was shitty for the amount of money you're going to pay,
she admits, and pulls out her phone. She hesitates, and then sighs.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
I'm glad you are, I tell her, and stroke her thigh again. She shivers even as she dials, but she doesn't push my hand away. It's like she likes it there. I think, for all her protesting, Ivy likes being owned by me. She calls a client and shoots a nervous smile over at me.
Hello, Mr. Thompson. This is Ivy Smithfield over at 3 Jacks Real Estate. Listen, I'm terribly sorry. I know we were supposed to go and view a couple of houses later today, but I'm afraid that something has come up and I won't make it back this afternoon.
She pauses, listening to the man on the other end. A tiny frown appears between her brows.
I know. I understand, yes. It's unprofessional. But I'm afraid something really has come up.
Tell him you'll give him a free car, I murmur. She shoots me a frustrated look, her focus on the phone.
I understand, Mr. Thompson. Yes. Yes.
A held-in sigh.
Yes. Yes, I understand.
Man, the guy must be really reaming her. Tell him you'll give him the car, I repeat, stroking higher on her thigh to get her attention. She squirms against me, a startled look crossing her face. Car, I repeat.
Mr. Thompson,
she says, and there's a breathless note to her voice that makes my dick hard.
I understand your frustration, and I know this is unconventional, but the appointment that came up today? The person in question is offering a free automobile upon closing if you remain signed with me.
Silence.
Yes, a car. What kind?
She looks over at me, helplessly. Any kind he wants, I tell her. I don't give a fuck if he demands a Bentley as long as he stops yelling at my woman.
Any kind you like,
she stammers into the phone.
Yes, I am quite serious. Yes, I am sure you can get it in writing.
A throaty little laugh escapes her throat.
Does he own a car dealership? Something like that. I do realize it's inconvenient to reschedule like this, but that is why my client is offering this incentive. Yes. Yes, I promise I'm not lying. Yes, I suppose you can have a minivan if you need one. She glances over at me. I nod slowly. My hand goes higher up her skirt, and I hold her thigh possessively. Her skin's getting softer and warmer the higher up I go, and my dick's getting harder with every inch I claim, too. I see. Yes, send me an email and we'll reschedule for early next week, I promise. And I'll get you that information about the car. Yes, I promise I'm not joking. She gives a little laugh. I understand. It is strange, but this is a very generous client. Yes. Thank you for understanding, Mr. Thompson. She hangs up the phone and looks over at me. I hope you're serious about the car thing. Of course I am. Why would I lie? Because I'm pretty sure that man was going to cry out of happiness. I wanted him to stop yelling at you. Ivy gives a small shake of her head. You realize he's going to try and find the most expensive minivan on the market, right? Don't care, long as you don't lose his business. She laughs and looks at me like I'm crazy. You do realize the van you're going to buy is way more expensive than anything I'd get, commission-wise. He's very low income. HUD housing. He'll be lucky if he qualifies for more than $80K through the bank. She stares out the window. 6 kids, though. Then I should buy the guy a big van, I agree. Sounds like the guy could use it. You're crazy. You know that, right? Ivy looks over at me, smiling. Don't care if I am, long as I get what I want. And you want? She prompts. You know what I want. I push my hand further up her skirt and cup her sex. Fuck. I can feel how wet she is through her panties. And the little gasp of shock she gives and the fact that she clenches her thighs around my hand. Even fucking better. I can't get enough of you, Ivy. And if I have to buy minivans for the entire state, I'm gonna do it if that means I get to hog all your time. I drag my fingers along her pussy. She's keeping it nice and shaved. And damn if that isn't the sexiest thing ever. Oh my God, she moans, and her hand clenches the truck seat. She's not pushing my hand away, though. Her hand goes to the chicken bar over the door, like she's got to hold on to something. You shouldn't do this while you're driving, Boone. She's probably right. I ain't paying much attention to the road. Not with her hot pussy against my fingers and her squirming like she's about to come off the seat. And since I'm not willing to remove my hand, I put on my blinker and immediately start crossing lanes, heading for the nearest exit. Up ahead, I see a cluster of signs, and when I pull off onto the service road, I head for the parking lot of a local superstore. It all takes about 30 seconds as I tear through traffic, but that's 30 seconds too long. I screech the truck to a halt at the back of the parking lot and throw it into park and then look over at Ivy. Her eyes are wide, her skin flushed, and I can see the prick of her nipples through that demure little jacket of hers. Get over here on my lap, I growl, and rub her hard through her panties. I can feel her little clit under the pads of my fingers. Ivy whimpers, but she unbuckles her seatbelt. In the next moment,
She's crawling over to me, and I put my arms round her waist. At the same time, I hit the release, and my seat skids backward a few inches to give her room to climb onto me. Her skirt rides up, but I'm fine with that because it just gives me more access to her pussy. Her hair's in another one of those ridiculously tight buns she favors, and I want to tug it free and see her hair cascade loose. I know from watching her undress that it's held by 1,000 little pins, and so I start to pull them out, one by one. With my other hand, I push inside her panties and stroke her wet folds. Ivy cries out, and then her mouth is on mine in a frantic, hungry kiss. That's my girl. I let her take the lead, showing me her urgency. She controls the kiss, her tongue moving against mine and her soft little cries increasing each time I stroke her clit. All the while, I pull pin after pin from her hair, determined to get her off and get her a little bit messy. Well, a lot messy. I want her to look well fucked, because I love seeing that on her. She shudders against me as I flick her clit and then rub it with my thumb. Her thighs clamp against my hand and she bites down on my lower lip. My cock aches hard, but this is about her, claiming her, making her mine, making her feel a tenth of how I feel about her on a regular basis. My needs don't matter. All that matters is Ivy. A little cry escapes her throat, and she breaks the kiss to press her face against mine. Her hips push down on my hand, and I can feel the little tremors rocking through her body that tells me she's close. So close. Then, her hair cascades over my hand, finally free of its tight confines. I grab a fistful of it and hold her as I double down, working her pussy over with renewed speed. My fingers glide through her slickness, and I sink one deep, even as I rest my thumb over her clit and rub. Her hands claw at my shirt, and the air explodes from her lungs. She buries her face against my neck and rides my hand, bucking wildly against it as I fuck her with my fingers. This is my girl. This is what I want from her. Intensity. Abandon. Passion. I want all of it. I kiss her neck, scrape my teeth over her soft skin as I pump into her with my fingers, working her toward her climax. Come for me, Ivy. Come on my hand. Come all over my fingers. Give me everything you got. She cries out and arches against me, and her cunt clenches hard round my finger, trying to milk it. I know my Ivy, though, and I keep rubbing her clit, dragging every last ounce of pleasure out of her as she shudders against me over and over again. Slowly, she recovers, and I pull my fingers from her warmth. I want to leave my hand between her legs forever, but, well, it makes it a little tricky to drive. She sits back in my lap, and I put my fingers to my mouth and suck her juices off of them, because I ain't letting a drop of it go to waste. Ivy strokes my beard as I do, a sleepy, almost amused look on her face. Then she blinks at something over my shoulder. What is it?
Another car just parked right next to you. I forgot we were in a parking lot.
Pink is creeping up her flushed cheeks.
Oh my God, I always forget where I am with you.
Can't say I'm sad about that. Not in the slightest, actually. Now I'm picturing all the places I'd like to take Ivy, just to get her off in public. A movie theater, a restaurant, anywhere I can show off to the world that she's mine while privately stroking her sweet, hot little pussy. She pushes her hair off her shoulders and gives me a flustered look before sliding off my lap and retreating back to her end of the truck cab.
That's because you're a bad influence.
I like to think I'm the best influence, I drawl. Ivy just grins and undoes the buttons on her jacket, revealing a silky little top underneath. She fans herself, and then she pulls the jacket off, and I see Band-Aids and bruises covering the inside of each arm. My arousal dies. The contentment I feel dies. Right in my fucking chest. What happened? She fans her face absently and then turns one of the air conditioner vents toward her. Your arms.
Oh.
The flustered look returns to her expression, and she gestures at one Band-Aid.
This? I was just donating blood.
Again? In both arms? I eye her. How often are you giving blood?
It's for a good cause,
she says defensively. Ivy, there ain't no cause good enough for them to stick you like a voodoo doll. This why you keep fainting? I grab the crushed bag of cookies that's been forgotten between us and shove it at her. Eat one of these before I lose my fucking shit. Ivy rolls her eyes and takes one of the broken cookies out of the bag, shoving it into her mouth and making a face at me. I don't care if she's pissy. I watch to make sure she eats every bite, and when she pops the last of it into her mouth, I hand over her drink and make sure she sips it. Maybe she's got a family member that's sick. Maybe that's why she's always so quiet and won't tell me what's going on. Maybe that's why things are complicated, and she doesn't want to leave with me for the weekend. Suddenly I feel like an ass. Who's dying? I ask when she swallows. The look she gives me is incredulous.
Dying? No one's dying.
Then why are you giving so much fucking blood?
Why is it any of your business?
I clench my jaw and stare out the window. There's a guy rounding up shopping carts who gives me a weird look as he passes by, but I ignore him. Instead, I grab another cookie out of the bag and hand it to Ivy. She groans, but takes it from me and begins to eat it. It's my business, I say slowly, because I care about you, and I don't want you to hurt yourself.
That's sweet, but I can take care of myself.
I grab her arm and look at the gigantic bruise that's grown under the Band-Aid, then look at her. She yanks her arm out of my grip and scowls.
I'm serious, Boone. I don't need anyone hovering over me to make sure that I'm fine.
I snort. That's for damn sure. You don't need anyone, it seems.
Excuse me for being independent.
There's a difference between being independent and being a stubborn ass.
Oh, and you'd know?
She retorts.
Because I'm not seeing a lot of nuance between the two on your end.
I might be stubborn, but at least I share what I'm feeling. I jerk the truck into gear and head out of the parking lot, cold fury in my brain. And I guess that's the big difference between me and you, Ivy. I want to be in your life, and you just keep pushing me away. She's silent. Her arms are crossed, and she's quiet for so long that I think she's quietly plotting how she's going to chew my head off for the next round.
Are you taking me home?
She asks after a while. No.
No?
She seems surprised by that. Nothing's changed, I tell her. Just because I don't like how you push me away doesn't mean anything's changed. I'm still fucking crazy about you, Ivy Smithfield. And I'll be damned if I let you just go home to ignore me all over again for another week or month or however long you get in your head. So we're still going to West Texas? For your blowjob? There's a teasing note in her voice, and I look over at her, skeptical. Maybe just because I want to spend the weekend with you. She's got a soft little smile on her face.
Fair enough. Can we just agree to disagree on all the other stuff? Please?
I hate that this is her avoiding confrontation again. I want to know what's going on. I'm worried to hell and back about her. But there's nothing I can do if she won't tell me a thing. But I'm also a fool in love. If that'll make you happy.
It will.
Ivy. My other client is all too happy to reschedule, even without the promise of a car. After that, there's no excuse left to give, so it looks like I'm headed out with Boone for the weekend. I'll send my sister a note telling her I'm staying with a work friend, but I'm sure she'll ask questions. I'll figure something out before I get home. Until then, I'm with Boone. As we drive west, the landscape flattens out until it looks as if we've left familiar Texas and somehow gone into the Texas of the movies, full of cactus, tumbleweeds, and endless dry, dusty roads. San Antonio is all buildings and color, and neither of those seem to apply the further west we head. "What's the name of the place we're headed to?" I ask.
Big Lake. It's a drilling town. Not much to look at. Some fracking, some oil, lots of rigs. About 3.5 hours west of San Antonio.
His hand is on my knee as he drives, and has been ever since we got in the cab. I think he just likes touching me. And really, I like him touching me too. I thought most of your stuff was further west than that.
It is. I purchased up some property from an old friend who ran dry. Pretty sure I can squeeze a few more wells out of it. Ran my rods over the place, and there's still life there.
Your rods?
Dowsing rods.
I look over at him. Like the little sticks that shake if you find water?
They point, and it works for oil as well as water.
He grins.
And I'm pretty good at it.
So it's not just an old wives' tale? It works? He nods slowly.
It's how I find all my wells. I don't let my boys drill without me picking the spot first. I used to do consulting, dows for the competition. Now I just buy up all the adjoining land and milkshake 'em like the bastard I am.
I don't even know what milkshaking is. I'm surprised you're superstitious, Boone. You didn't seem the type.
Oh, I ain't as bad as some. I know some guys that put laxatives down the hole, convinced that works, and some get a preacher or any other sort of holy person to come and pray over their wells. Me, I just stick to the dowsing.
I give my head a little shake, surprised by all this. It's just strange to hear a billionaire say that. What do your investors think?
I don't really ask 'em.
He shrugs.
I don't run my business like most do. I let my suits run the company, and I do my thing. I know rigs and drilling, and that's what I stick to. I let the company do what it wants as long as it makes me money, and I meet with my suits to make sure they're doing their jobs. Other than that...
He shrugs. You don't want more control over your company?
Nah.
But...
What if it goes under?
He shrugs again and switches lanes.
I got my money tucked away. My brothers are investing in some other businesses. Clay's got some camo technology business he's big into right now, and Knox is looking at what to do with his shares. Oil goes bust all the time. Whales dry up. Oil prices drop. You make hay while the sun shines.
It's crazy to me that he's so blasé about potentially losing a fortune. I can't even imagine. I'll eat an expired can of soup just because I can't imagine tossing it out and wasting the money. We come from such different worlds, he and I, even though we have a lot of similarities. But it just drives home to me that all this money he spends means nothing to him, and it's everything to me. We chat a bit back and forth as he drives, his hand remaining on my knee like a possessive brand. Even though I've lived in Texas all my life, I've never driven west, and it's amazing to me how different things seem. Eventually, there's a little sign that says Big Lake, Texas, and a motel. There's a couple mom-and-pop diners, and then more of the strange skeletal metal contraptions that are the lifeline to the oil industry. It's all so foreign. Boone eventually takes a few turns down a gravel road, and then we pull up to a row of pickup trucks parked in front of a metal trailer. Off to one side is a rig, and I can see men moving on the platform. 2 other men in hard hats are talking in front of the trailer. Both of them wear suits despite the heat, and look just as out of place as I feel.
Here we go. You finished your cookies?
Boone asks as he parks the truck.
Or do you need to eat some more?
I couldn't possibly eat another bite, I assure him, patting my stomach. The man bought practically a dozen and made me eat every single one over the last few hours. The plasma donations have been taking a lot out of me, but with the sugar and carbs, I'm feeling better. He studies my face, as if making sure I look healthy enough, and then nods. He gets out of the truck, then comes to my side and opens the door, offering me a hand to help me out. I'm not dressed for this, I chide him as my heels wobble in the dirt.
I got some boots you can wear inside the trailer. We'll get you a hard hat, too.
He tucks my hand in his arm and escorts me forward.
You look beautiful anyhow.
Do I? My hair's a mess after our makeout session. My panties are still damp, and my suit is wrinkled from hours in the car. I probably don't have a lick of makeup left on my face. I feel awkwardly out of place as he leads me toward the others. I can almost guess what they're thinking as they eye me. Gold digger.
Boys,
Boone greets as we approach.
Say hello to Ivy, my fiancée.
Oh, shit. Again? My cheeks heat with an awkward flush, even as I extend my hand in greeting toward them. Realtor, I correct with a smile on my face. He meant realtor.
Sure, realtor. For now.
Boone seems undeterred. He gestures at one man, then the other.
This is Roberts, and this is Gorham. They're on the board at Price Brothers Oil. I came out to check on the new rig and douse for another. Thought I'd bring company with me.
He smiles at me. He's the only one. The 2 men in suits are completely stone-faced under their hard hats, gazing at me with completely blank expressions. I can't tell if they're pissed or annoyed or pleased to see me. I promise not to get in the way, I say politely, keeping my smile on my face. Roberts nods, and then turns to Boone.
There's some business we need to go over that came up at the last meeting. Do you have a moment?
Boone glances over at me.
You want to go grab yourself some shoes, baby? They're inside the trailer.
Both men in suits are staring at me, and I'm starting to feel like a bug under a microscope. Sure. He kisses my forehead.
I'll be in a moment. Then we'll start the tour.
I climb up the metal steps into the trailer, and as I do, I'm half expecting him to slap my ass. He doesn't, and then I feel like a jerk, because of course he wouldn't. He doesn't need to be a macho asshole to let the others know that I'm his. Boone doesn't have to show off in front of anyone. He never does. I feel a twinge of guilt that I've been unfair to him, even in my own head. He's given me no reason to doubt him. I'm just a jerk and keep looking for excuses to be frustrated with him, I guess. Like I want to somehow find this massive flaw so I can be justified in keeping him at arm's length. I enter the trailer, and a wash of cool, recycled air hits me. There's a window unit chugging away, but the inside of the trailer is empty. It's a bit of a mess, too. There's a few maps on the wall that I can't make heads or tails of, and a corkboard covered with notes, schedules, and other bits of paper. There's a shelf full of binders behind a cheap desk, and the desk itself is covered in more papers, more binders, and a phone. Everything looks cheap, just a little bit dirty and cluttered. There's a row of boots behind the door, along with a few extra hard hats. I pick up one pair of boots that look the smallest, but they're dirty and there's no socks. Boone enters a moment later, talking with either Roberts or Gorham. I don't remember which is which. They discuss meters and barrels, and I sit in a folding chair in the corner so I don't interrupt. The man in the suit hands over stacks of paperwork, and Boone signs them, even as the two argue about investments and drillings and other things I politely try not to listen to, since it's none of my business. "That's the last of it," Roberts says, closing a folder after Boone signs off. "There's a meeting with the board Tuesday at 10 in the morning. Boone shakes his head. "Change it to Wednesday." "Wednesday at 10 in the morning," Roberts amends smoothly. "Will you and the brothers be there?" "I'll be there. Dunno about them." Roberts nods at him and heads towards the door. He nods at me as well, and then leaves without a goodbye. The door shuts behind him. Boone rubs his beard, an irritated expression on his face. "Friendly?" I say to Boone, teasing. Boone snorts. "I didn't hire him because he's a nice guy, but he likes to be in charge of all the shit I don't like to be in charge of, so it works out well." "I don't think he liked me," I point out. "He don't like anyone," Boone says. "Even me. You're in good company." That makes me chuckle. "And you're okay with that?" "Long as he spends all day in the boardroom and not me? Hell yeah." He gets to his feet and comes to my side. "You find some boots?" "Yes, but there's no socks." I wrinkle my nose. I'm not sure I like the thought of cramming my foot into someone else's boot without one. He laughs and opens up a file cabinet, pulling out a package of socks. "Fair enough. Now come on. I want to show you my rigs." A few minutes later, I'm wearing new socks, boots, a hard hat, and my hand is in Boone's as he leads me forward. The work on the rig doesn't stop as we approach up the ramp, but we also don't get too close. Instead, Boone pulls me aside and points out how the process works, and I try to follow along. From what I can tell, they constantly add more pipe to the hole as they dig. Then someone brings in a chain and wraps it around the pipe to tighten things, and then it all starts over again. I'm pretty sure I'm missing about 80% of the process, but Boone seems pleased with how things are going. "See that guy right there?" he tells me, pointing at one with a broom. "The worm?" "Worm?" I ask. "That's my little brother, Seth. I'm making him work for the summer before he gets his shares, so he knows what this shit is about." I nod slowly. "So, he gets a share of the company?" "Family share. It's Price Brothers Oil, and he's a Price. I have majority, but all of my brothers get an equivalent family share." "How much is the share?" I can't help but be nosy. "Right now? Probably $1 billion or so." My eyes go wide. I stare at the scruffy, lean guy in a hard hat. He's the blonde kid from before, with the downy beard on his jaw. He's wearing a dirty jumper, and the other guys pause every now and then to give him shit, which he ignores. He's going to be a billionaire at the end of the summer. I feel like I've stepped onto another planet right about now. One summer of hard work, and you get $1 billion. If only it were that easy. Shaken, I turn to Boone. "Which is the job you did, before you hit oil?" He points at a man standing at what looks like a control panel.
I was the driller, but I've worked all the positions and gotten my hands dirty.
He winks at me.
Something you'll never have to do.
Ah. My stomach tightens. Boone puts an arm around my shoulders.
You want me to go in there and show you how it's done?
I watch as someone flings a chain around the pipe and all the roughnecks move into motion. Mud sprays, and everyone steps backward. No, I'm good, actually. He chuckles.
You want to go dowsing, then?
Sure. I pause as he turns away. Are you going to say hi to your little brother? Boone shakes his head and leads me back down the ramp.
Nope. He needs to concentrate. Could lose a finger if I mess with his mojo.
I blink in surprise, because that sounds awful. And then I remember that Boone's missing a finger, too. Is this how? The work seems a lot more dangerous all of a sudden. I look back and watch them tighten the chains on the pipe, all of them covered in mud as the driller shouts at them. I'm rather glad that Boone's in charge and not on the rig any longer. The thought of him being in any kind of danger makes me feel nervous and unhappy. I slide my hand around his waist and tuck my fingers into his belt loop. I'd like to see the dowsing.
You just want to see me play with my stick, don't you?
I snort. Several hours later, I feel as if I've crawled all over the flats of West Texas. Boone and I met up with another one of his workers, this one with a topography map, an iPad, and 2 all-terrain vehicles. We'd set off on the vehicles, me clinging to Boone's back, and then arrived at the spot Boone wanted to investigate. From there, Boone pulled out his dowsing rods, and I watched as he moved slowly over the ground, calling out locations for his worker with the map to mark down. It's the most bizarre thing, but both Boone and the worker took it extremely seriously. Boone even handed the dowsing rods to me and asked if I wanted to give it a shot. I did, but I didn't feel a thing and quickly handed them back. Perhaps some people are just better at finding money than others. If that's the case, I'll never be able to douse a thing. Money seems to elude me. By the time Boone seems satisfied, there's at least 20 spots noted on the map that he goes over with his employee, and the sun feels like it's baking me to a crisp in my suit. Boone notices I'm starting to wilt and claps the guy on the back.
We'll finish early today and hit the next field tomorrow.
Then Boone comes to my side.
You ready to head out, darling?
Now I feel guilty. I don't want to keep you from working.
If there's oil in the next field, it's been there for 65 million years. It can keep for another day.
Boone glances back at his employee.
I'm taking my fiancée home. I'll see you in the morning. Take the rest of the day off. Will do. You have a good one, boss.
He tips his hat to both of us and gets on his ATV. Boone drives us back to the trailer, and I change back into my heels. We get in the truck, and Boone looks over at me.
Is the motel okay? Big Lake doesn't have anything fancy like the place I took you to last week.
If it has a shower, I'm completely fine with that. I'm sweaty and gross and ready to change out of my clothing. I don't have anything to change into. He grins.
One shower coming right up. As for the change of clothing.
He puts the truck in park and grins at me.
Be right back.
I watch as he races back into the trailer and returns a few moments later with a plastic package. He tosses it over at me as he buckles back in. It's a T-shirt. Price Brothers Oil. I chuckle. Perfect.
It'll go great with your silky panties.
He winks at me as he puts the truck in reverse. That it might. The motel is across the street from a truck stop diner, which, Boone tells me, makes incredible hamburgers. It's a tiny place, but the lady at the front desk knows Boone and beams a friendly smile at me as she hands him the keys. The room is small and dark, but the sheets look clean, and there's fluffy towels and a shower that's practically screaming my name. I pry off my heels, and it feels as if a shower of dirt emerges from my shoe, even though I wore boots most of the afternoon. Good God! How is it I got so dirty?
It's the wind. It carries the grit, and it just gets into everything.
Boone pulls off his cap and tosses it on the king-size bed, then glances speculatively over at me.
Thought you liked being my dirty girl.
I giggle and give a small shake of my head, shrugging off my jacket. It's amazing how you can manage to make everything sound completely filthy. Ain't it? He wiggles his brows at me as I toss my jacket onto the bed.
So, what's your plan now?
Shower, then sleep. I'm exhausted from the day, and I think some of that has to do with all the plasma donations I've been giving. I can't say that, of course. Boone will flip his lid if he finds out, and my story will go bust. He'll want to know why, and someone giving plasma is downright suspicious, so I know he'd see through it. And I don't know if I'm ready to be done yet. I keep telling myself it's a bad idea to be with him because once he finds out the truth, he won't want me. But I can't seem to help myself.
That sounds good,
he says, and pulls his shirt off.
I'll wash your back.
You want to shower with me?
Fuck yeah, I do.
He grins, all white teeth and gorgeous, smiling face. The idea of a shower is suddenly taking on an entirely new meaning, and I mentally picture Boone naked, his big body towering over mine, and his hands moving over my skin. I shiver, rubbing my arms. Why is it that just thinking about the man touching me makes me go crazy with need? I do need my back scrubbed, I lie. I need something, all right, but it has nothing to do with soap. He just gives me another one of those lazy, gorgeous smiles, and his gaze sweeps over my body appreciatively.
You show me what you need done, baby girl, and I'll get it taken care of.
I need him to want me for who I truly am, not who he imagines me to be. But maybe, over time, that won't matter. Maybe it won't be a big deal if he finds out that, although I'm doing my best to reinvent myself, I still grew up in a trailer. My mom's a deadbeat, and my dad's in prison. It won't matter that I'm uneducated and know more about how to run a fry machine than how to host a dinner party, because he'll love me and will understand that I've worked hard to change who I am, just like he has. But even as I think it, I know it's a lie. Boone hasn't changed who he is one bit. He's got money, but I suspect that if I went back in time 5 years, Boone Price would be the same then as he is now, stubborn, strong-willed, and utterly determined to get what he wants.
You look troubled,
Boone says to me, moving to my side.
What's bothering you?
His rough hand smooths the hair back from my face in a caress. I can't tell him, so I undo my skirt and let it fall to the floor and cock my head as I gaze up at him. I was just thinking about when you wanted that blowjob. His eyes gleam.
You offering, baby girl?
Would I bring it up if I wasn't? I arch a brow at him, trying to be coy instead of sad. Boone rubs his knuckles along my jaw, studying my face.
You're not too tired? I didn't bring you here for the blowjob, you know.
I laugh. A turnabout? That's not what you told me earlier.
That's because I played dirty.
He winks at me and then leans in to brush his lips gently across mine.
Doesn't mean I'm heartless. You're tired and not feeling well, and the last thing I want to do is push you to do something you ain't interested in.
Why wouldn't I be interested? I slowly pull my silk camisole off, and then I'm only in my panties and bra. Why wouldn't I want to touch you as much as you touch me? I smile. Actually, You've gone down on me plenty of times, and I haven't returned the favor.
That's because I like the feel of your pussy on my lips, and I like the taste of you even more.
His hand drops, and he cups the front of my panties, rubbing my folds through them.
I actually wouldn't mind going down on you right about now, baby girl.
We are going to shower, I tell him in my sweetest voice. And then I am going to give you a blowjob. Don't distract me.
Yes, ma'am,
he drawls, a grin on his face. I unhook my bra and turn away, removing it with a flourish before shimmying out of my panties. I saunter toward the bathroom, naked, and turn on the shower. The water's cold, so I wait by the tub a moment, feeling a little nervous and a lot excited as I hear Boone stripping off his clothing in the other room. Then he appears in the doorway, all tanned skin and rippling muscle, and I lose my breath. The man eats up a room when he enters, and I feel small and fragile as he comes to stand next to me. He drags his hand through my hair, then rubs a handful of it against his face, and for some reason that's the most erotic thing I've ever seen. I gasp at the sight, my nipples hardening immediately. He's completely naked, his cock thick and erect. I want to touch him all over. It's my turn to explore. I crook a finger and saunter into the bathroom toward the spray of hot water. Bathing him might be a pretense, but I'm excited just thinking about running my soapy hands all over him. He's had his hands on me, pleasured me, kissed every inch of my skin, and now I get to return the favor. The shower is one of those plastic, boxy ones with a rippled door instead of a curtain, and for a moment I wish it was a sexier, more open shower. It'll have to do, though. I push the door aside, step under the hot water, and glance over at him, soaking my hair. Boone is 2 steps behind me, and his hand skates down my back, even as he shuts the shower door behind him.
You are perfection. You know that.
I turn, then slide one wet hand up his chest. You get under the spray, and I'll wash your back.
You do know I'd be just fine with dropping to my knees and licking you until you come on my face, don't you?
Boone strokes a gentle knuckle down my cheek.
There's no need for being reciprocal or anything, because making you come is entirely my pleasure.
Not entirely, I tease. And this isn't entirely about you either. I let my hand trail down his chest, heading toward his cock. I want to do this. I want to see how you react when I touch you, when I put my mouth on you. I press my hands on his hips, and then slowly lower to my knees. His back blocks the spray from raining down on me, and I gaze up at him, feeling powerful and in control despite my vulnerable position. I might be touching you, but this is most definitely for me. He groans, and his hand moves over my wet hair.
That's so?
It is. My sassy words fade in favor of a low, tingling excitement that pools between my thighs at the sight of his cock just inches from my face. I examine him before I touch him, just because this is my first time up close and personal with a dick. His skin is a shade darker here, almost plum-colored on the head of his cock, and ruddy along the shaft. A dark nest of curls shields his balls. There's a vein that dances along the length of his shaft, zigzagging under his skin, and I trace one finger along its path. Boone sucks in a breath, and his hand tangles in my wet hair. For a moment, I think he's going to force my head down toward his cock, but he doesn't. He's determined not to push me farther than I want to go. Luckily for him, I want to go all the way. I curl my fingers around his length, feeling how thick he is. My fingers can't quite meet around his shaft, and I squeeze him just to see his reaction. A tremor rushes through his body at my touch, and as I glance up at him, I see his nostrils flare and his jaw clenches, like it's taking everything in his power not to disturb me in my exploration. But I kind of want to be disturbed. Not that I want him to pull away, just that I want him to be so turned on by what I'm doing that he can't help but intervene. So I decide that's my new goal. I'm going to make him so crazy with lust that he's going to lose control. I want to make him as wild as he makes me. So I continue my exploration, letting my wet fingers glide from the head of his cock to the underside of it, tracing along his skin. I caress his shaft as I move my fingertips over it, and then go further down and explore his balls. They're not the prettiest of body parts, but I like that his skin is incredibly soft here, and when I touch him, I can hear him suck in a breath. His skin is scorching hot against my hand, the scent of him muskier here, and I can't wait to put my mouth on him. I extend the tip of my tongue and give him a cautious lick, catching a few beads of water off the side of his cock shaft.
"This is the best damn thing I have ever seen,"
Boone says hoarsely above me, and I look up to see he's holding on to the lip of the plastic wall of the shower with white-knuckled strain. "You like it?" I ask, a playful note in my voice. I repeat the action, this time tracing the tip of my tongue all around the head of his cock. Not all of the beads here are water, and I can taste a salty tang of pre-cum. I flick my tongue over the divot to get more of his taste, and I can feel his entire body shudder in response.
"Fucking love it,"
he grits out. Encouraged, I wrap my hand tight around his length and focus on pleasuring him with my tongue. I try different things to see what he likes and what he doesn't. The slow drag of the tip of my tongue over his skin makes his body twitch, but when I lick him like an ice cream cone, he groans and murmurs filthy things under his breath. My lips brushing over his cock make him exhale sharply, and when I pump him with my hand, he ducks his head, and the hand on my head leaves my hair and clenches into a fist that he presses against one thigh. Poor thing's desperately trying to hold on to his control. It makes me grin and feel even more shamelessly wicked because I want to tear it away from him. I lick the head of his cock again, and then close my lips over him.
"Oh, damn,"
he breathes.
"Oh, baby girl, have mercy on your man."
There's not an ounce of mercy in me as I swirl my tongue over him, figuring out how to give him the most pleasure. He likes it when I rub the flat of my tongue against him, and he really likes it when I suck and drag him deeper. I focus on taking as much of him into my mouth as I can, relaxing my jaw and working on him with my tongue. I'm surprised when the head of his cock bumps against the back of my throat and he hisses out my name between his teeth.
"Get up,"
he grits a moment later, gently pulling me off of him. I release his cock from my mouth with an audible pop and look up at him in surprise. "What's wrong?"
"Nothing."
He drags me to my feet and pulls me against him in a hard, fierce kiss.
"I'm getting a fucking condom because I want to come inside you, not on your mouth."
"Oh." I watch as he shoves the shower door open and storms out of the bathroom, dripping water everywhere. A moment later, he returns with a condom packet, ripping it open with his teeth, and then rolling the sleeve of it down his length. It's amazing how fast he does that, and I barely have time to register that he's getting back in the shower with me when he pulls me up against him and begins to kiss me again. I moan against his mouth because his hand is sliding between my wet thighs and stroking my pussy. There's no slow build between us. Everything seems to explode after a few small touches, and I'm left aching and full of want. I squirm with need when his fingers sink deep between my thighs, pushing into my core.
"You're so fucking wet,"
he tells me between wild kisses.
You like sucking my cock, baby girl.
I love touching you, Boone, I tell him, feeling shy at admitting such a bold thing. I wasn't ready to stop.
I don't have the stamina,
He tells me, pressing his face against my neck and kissing me even as he fucks me with his hand. His beard prickles and rasps against my skin, softer when wet.
but I'm more than willing to let you practice on me over and over again, Ivy. But right now, I need you.
His fingers leave my body, and I whimper at the loss, clinging to his wet shoulders. He takes one of my thighs and hooks it around his hips, and before I realize what he's doing, he grabs me by my hips and hoists me up the wall, pinning me against the tile, my breasts pressing against his chest. I feel the heat of his cock push between my thighs, and then I'm sinking down on his length. I moan, my nails digging into Boone's back, because it feels so deep like this. Like gravity is shoving me down on his length, and all I can do is hold on to him for dear life.
I've got you,
he murmurs, pressing kisses against my skin.
Wrap your legs around me tight, Ivy. I won't let you fall.
I do as he commands, and then he thrusts into me, my body jolting against the slick tile. I feel as if our bodies are barely moving, but I can feel everything. And the angle he's pushing into me, it's rubbing something deep inside that is making me crazy. When he thrusts again, a keening cry escapes my throat, and I squirm wildly against him, needing more.
That hit the spot, Ivy.
He presses more frantic kisses to my face, and then thrusts into me again, and I claw at his back, crying out his name.
Yup,
he chuckles, seemingly oblivious to the fact that I'm about to burst from my skin with need.
Found the spot.
Again he thrusts into me. Over and over, Boone pumps into me with quick, shallow bursts, and, oh God, it feels like I'm a volcano erupting. Orgasm after orgasm crashes through me, my legs like jello. I'm making all kinds of little cries and mewing noises, and I can't find that I give a damn, because he's fucking any cares I might have had right out of my brain. It's one endless orgasm positioned like this, and I think he's coming too, a moment later, because he presses my body against the tile, hard, and I bite down on his shoulder, desperately trying to unleash some of the madness that's ripping through me with gale force pleasure. All I know is that I feel amazing. I'm barely aware as he carries me, still clinging to him like a baby monkey, from the shower back to the hotel bed. He lies on top of my wet body for a few moments, tenderly kissing me. I cry out in a small protest as he gets up to turn off the shower, because I feel so empty without his body piercing mine. It's madness, how much I've come to crave him in such a short time. I get under the covers and pull a sheet over my body by the time he returns with a towel for me. The hot, smoky look is still on his face, as if he's ready to grab me and go for another round, and I feel an excited flutter all through my body in response. It's insane, just how addicted I am to him. We're insane, I murmur as he sits down on the bed next to me. He slides under the blankets and pulls me against him. We're still damp, and the sheets stick to both of us, my skin to his. Boone just brushes the wet hair off my face and shoulders and studies me, curious.
Insane how?
I laugh, tilting my head back. All of this is insane. We can't be in the same room without clawing at each other and orgasming about a dozen times.
I don't see how this is a problem,
he drawls, teasing.
You seem to like the orgasms I give you.
Of course I do. I trace a finger along his big arm. I just worry about how fast we're going. Don't you? It's only been a few weeks. He shrugs. And you keep introducing me to everyone as your fiancé. I arch an eyebrow at him. We're not engaged.
Not yet, but only because you still aren't used to the idea.
And you are? I ask, amused. The look on his face is utterly serious as he gazes down at me.
Ivy, I knew you were the one for me the moment I laid eyes on you. For me, there's no one else. Not now, not ever. I knew the second I saw you that you were everything I wanted. Nothing about that has changed.
His big leg tangles with mine under the sheets, and I feel his knee go between my thighs.
Nothing, baby.
But I'm a little surprised at this admission. The moment you saw me in the brochure?
The moment I saw you face to face.
He leans in and rubs his nose against mine, then presses a quick kiss to my mouth.
I thought you were pretty when I saw you in the ad, of course. Thought you'd be a good trophy wife. Some nice, classy piece to fuck every now and then and not think about twice.
Gee.
But then I saw you in person, and it was like my whole world lit up.
He grins down at me.
I saw you and thought, yeah, that's the woman I'm going to marry. That's the woman I'm going to fall in love with.
I go very still under him, my heart pounding. Love? We've played at a relationship for weeks now, played hard, but this is the first I'm hearing of the L word. He nods, looking down at me thoughtfully.
Thought you knew. I've loved you from the moment you smiled at me.
I don't know whether to cry or smile. Boone, Somewhere across the room, my phone rings with Winona's ringtone. Oh, hell. I should get that. Boone chuckles and begins to slide down my body, pressing hot kisses on my shoulder and then my breast.
Must you?
It's my sister. I lose track of things when his lips close over my nipple and he drags his tongue over the tip. Oh, God, it's sinful how good that feels. He nips at my skin and toys with my breast as I cling to him, my hands in his hair, my phone going off endlessly. Winona can just leave me a voicemail. I'll talk to her later. There's a moment of quiet, and then my phone starts to ring again. Winona. She's not leaving a message. Damn it. Boone's mouth is doing scorchingly delicious things to my breast, and I'm torn. The last thing I want to do is interrupt him. His teeth scrape over my nipple, and his hand goes between my legs, and I forget all about the phone. Until it begins to ring for a third time. I groan aloud. My annoyance over my sister's terrible timing is ebbing away, and worry is taking its place. I need to get that, Boone. If she's not leaving a message, something's wrong. He shrugs, but when I tap his shoulder, he rolls to the side so I can get up. I cross the room and fish my phone out of my purse just as the next call comes through. Hello? Winona? Reba? My sister's sobbing. Where are you? I've been calling and calling. I'm visiting a friend, I tell her, glancing over at the bed. Boone sprawled in the mess of damp covers, gazing at me with scorching eyes. Is something wrong? Did you blow another tire? I went and visited Dad in Huntsville, she sobs. Oh, God, was that today? I'm the worst sister. I've totally forgotten about it. I turn away from Boone because I don't want him to see the stress on my face. Oh? And how was it? They denied him parole, she wails. Oh, no. Why? I keep my voice modulated and calm, though I'm secretly torn. Our father's a deadbeat drunk, and the last thing I want is him coming home to live with me and Winona again. But my sister adores him and is convinced that he's innocent, and that when he comes home, we'll be a family again. They said he hasn't learned his lesson. Her brittle sobs are tearing at me through the phone, and I feel tears of sympathy creeping into my eyes. Said that because of his priors, they don't think he's a good parole candidate. He can reapply for parole in 24 months. She chokes the words out. 2 years, Reba. 2 years is forever. He's already been gone 6. I know, honey. I know. It's going to be okay. I promise. Winona's racking sobs are breaking my heart. Please just calm down, okay? You're going to make yourself sick. Oh, where are you? She hiccups into the phone. Are you coming home? Absolutely, I say firmly. Give me a few hours and I will be right there. A few hours? She sounds shocked, and another sob chokes from her throat. Reba, I need you here. I feel so alone. She starts to cry even harder and sounds so much younger than her barely 18 years. I miss my daddy. I know, Winona. I know. I promise. I'll be home as soon as I can, I tell her. I don't look over at the bed, because if I do, I'm going to see sexy, warm Boone still sprawled in the blankets, waiting for me to crawl back into the covers with him for another round of lovemaking. Except I can't, because real life is crashing in, and I have to rescue my sister before she cries herself sick, or worse, tries to go back to the prison, or something even worse than that. Look, I've got $20 on my dresser, all right? Order a pizza and eat something, and I'm going to be home a little while after that. You stuff your face, and then I'll come home and we'll talk. Okay? Okay, she says, and she sounds broken. God, her sadness is breaking me. Hurry home. Okay, Reba? I will, Winona. I promise. Just take deep breaths. Take a nice hot shower. Oh, God, that makes me think of the sexy shower I just had with Boone. And then I'll be home and we'll talk. Okay? Sniff. I love you, sis. Love you too, Winona. It kills me to hang up because my sister needs me. I slowly put down the phone and look over at Boone. He's up from the bed, tugging on his jeans. The look he shoots me is worried. Everything all right? I nod slowly. I need to go home. It's my sister. Of course. I can get us checked out fast. He pauses and studies me. What is it, if you don't mind me asking? I go still. I don't know what to tell him. I've felt so close to Boone this afternoon. We just made love in the shower. I feel joy when his mouth touches mine. He just confessed that he's in love with me. He makes me happy. And yet, I wish I could tell you, Boone, but I can't. The worry on his face fades a little, and I can see his expression hardening. Why can't you tell me? My back goes up. I grab my skirt off the floor, find my jacket, and start hunting for my bra and panties. Because it's personal. Oh, well, that changes things, he says sarcastically. I guess we're not at that point, right, where we share personal stuff? I'm silent. He's pissed, and he has every right to be. It feels awful, knowing that I'm in the wrong, and I still can't do anything about it. Heaven fucking forbid I learn something personal about you, Ivy. He jerks his t-shirt on over his head. I mean, I'm just the guy that fucking wants to marry you, right? But it's fine. We're not personal or anything. It's not like I just told you I'm in love with you, and it's not like you said anything back. So, hey, I guess we're not at that personal level after all. I wince, because everything he says is like a dagger. He did confess love, and I said nothing at all. It's because I'm terrified. I'm terrified of exactly what is happening right now. Please just take me home, Boone. I can't talk about this.
Can't talk or won't talk?
Won't, I whisper. I find my panties and slip them back on, and then my bra. I won't look at him as I dress. I can't. Damn it, he snarls.
Why is it every time I think I'm finally getting close to you, you push me away again? Why is it that I'm the one that keeps reaching out and you're the one that keeps running away? Don't you fucking care at all about me, Ivy?
Tears burn behind my eyes, threatening to spill. I nod slowly. I do.
Then tell me that. Share with me. Something.
He slams a hand on his chest and gestures at the cheap motel room.
Anything. I keep bringing you into my world because I want you here with me. And every time anything in your world shows up, you shove me away.
It's not like that.
It's not, huh? Then tell me what's going on.
His hands go on his hips, and he waits. I feel as if I'm crumbling inside. I can't say a word because then he'll know what a sham I am. My dad can't get paroled yet. Oh, and I live in a trailer and have $20 to my name. I'm a big fat fucking lie. But the words won't come out of my mouth. I'm utterly silent. Even though I don't want it to, a fat tear rolls down my cheek. I angrily swipe it away. Boone swears. He puts his hand on his head and stares up at the ceiling, then looks over at me.
We can't go on like this forever, Ivy. You're gonna have to let me into your life at some point.
I know, I whisper hoarsely.
Just fucking tell me, all right? Why can't you tell me?
I just can't. I'm so sorry. He sighs slowly, then scoops his keys up from the dresser. He comes to my side and presses a kiss to the top of my head, and then shoves away.
I'm gonna go check out.
He opens the door to the room and then pauses in the doorway as I stand there, clutching my bra and jacket to my chest.
You know, you say that you're sorry and that I mean something to you, but you never change. I extend my hand and you never take it. At some point, you're going to reach out and my hand won't be there because I've given up.
The thought is like a knife in the gut. The door slams behind him as he leaves, and it feels like something in our wild, tempestuous relationship is slamming shut too. And I feel stuck, trapped, and aching with misery. The thing he wants the most from me, the truth, is the thing he would hate the most about me.